creating new live broadcast. I don't know why it said creating new live broadcast. It still should be the broadcast I told it. Here, I'll just type it in and see if it works. Let's see here. Control V. People can probably see us right now. Let me see. Is this gonna work? Testing. Testes. Testicles. Wait, did it?
Are we good?
Did it create a new one? Hold on. I don't think we're good. I think it created a new stream. Why did it do that?
What?
All right, hold on.
Well, it's ruined. It's ruined.
I give up. Let's throw it in the garbage. All right, let me open up the YouTube studio and see if it created a duplicate. It's not supposed to do that. Like I told it to pick the existing one and go to it, and it's like, nah, bro, I got this. Let's see. Did it create a duplicate? Oh no, it didn't. Okay, so we should be live. Are we not live?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not even looking at the stream.
Okay, it says we're streaming.
Yeah, we are. We're live. Yeah, we're live.
Oh, we are. Okay, it just must be massively delayed. I was like, what? Why is this not working? All right, hold on. Let me just click this to make sure. Okay, yeah, it does say we're live. It does say we're on the right thing. Hey, you in chat, if you can see this, say I can see this in chat.
Yeah. Let's get a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, a check. Miggity check. Chickity check. The Chinese chicken.
Yeah, before we get started, I'd like to perform a mic check. If your name is Michael, please say something in the chat.
What's that from?
I don't remember. Like somebody, it was like it's like a repost of an Instagram comment or something, or like a Reddit post about, oh man, this one time a kid at my high school talent show or something, like he gets up on stage and that was like part of his. He's like, okay, before we get started, I just want to do a mic check. If your name is Michael, please stand up. And like 4 or 5 guys, stand up. Okay, well, this now concludes the mic check. Thank you.
Why is it okay? Wait, there is video showing, right? When you go to the feed.
Yeah, I see it. Even we've been live for a few minutes now.
Okay, the dashboard. Oh, there I am. Okay, the dashboard's lying to me. Dashboard's being a big old dirty liar. It's okay. I'm gonna tweet out the stream. All right, we are live for TikTok. Boom, dropping those links. Okay, then I'll go over to the old Facebook since I didn't do all this earlier when I should have.
Yeah.
Hope you're all having a fantastic, wonderful week, and enjoying this fine weekend of 4/16. I think tomorrow's Easter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, we got Easter tomorrow. Holy shit, time flies. I said a swear. Demonetized.
Oops. No, we've been live for a few minutes. We're fine.
Yeah, we're figuring it out. Okay, so I just sent out the link to the Facebook group, to the Twitter group. Who am I missing? I think I'm missing Discord. Let me go tell the Discord people. I gotta let everybody know because the system doesn't do it for me anymore. Probably should fix that. Everyone go tweet this out to your brothers and sisters and worst enemies and troll your neighbors. Okay, send it out to everybody, and boom goes the dynamite. Okay, cool. Now everybody should know. So when nobody shows up, it's actually just because it's my fault. That's how I'm gonna look at this. All right, let me see. Where's my dashboard at? All right, come on, dashboard. Where'd you go? Control room, right? There we go. Nope, that's wrong. Control room. Hold on. I gotta push the right buttons here, and then once I have everything up, I should be good. I thought I had everything up, but I wasn't. I was all pointing at the wrong things. All right, so there it is. Live control room. Haha, I did it. It is loading. Okay, now I can keep an eye on the health of the stream and everything. Okay, perfect. So we got 85 concurrent viewers. We got 14 likes. Ooh, look at that. People already hitting the like button. I haven't done anything yet. I love these guys. I got chat up. I've got I got to clear. Hold on. Oh, Tripped Out Tech, by the way, subscribed to the channel 32 minutes ago.
Oh, before we went live?
Yeah, apparently.
Nice. Thank you.
So Tripped Out Tech, you're pretty awesome. Thank you. And Fotis Tesapakidis, thank you for the subscribe 41 minutes ago.
Oh, it's no joke.
Yeah, these guys don't mess around. Oh, Rare Apple said he actually got a YouTube notification today. I'll be damned, man. We are on fire. So Mr. David Hewlett, as you guys know, got the vid. He got the COVID, and he's doing a lot better now. He's actually out walking his dog, but he said he might pop in the stream a little bit later.
Cool.
No guarantees on that. We want him to, heal up before he does anything rash or drastic. But if he's feeling up to it and he pops in, just, it might happen. If you see a strange dude just like popping as a third window, we're not being hacked. That is in fact just David Hewlett. Hey, what is up, Eric? My man, Eric G. Thank you for the $2 super chat. He said, woohoo, tech talk while I drive. That dude is always driving a truck somewhere. So, Ox, won't you bring us up to speed on your awesome week, man? Did you do anything of note, or was it just pretty much same old?
Pretty same old. Yeah, just boring week. Getting started on spring stuff, pressure wash like the driveway. And
what about the PC building business, man? What's going on with that?
It's kind of stalled out for now, but I mean, I have a bunch of stuff I need to work on in the garage, like streaming and stuff. So
yeah, you need to start throwing some parts around and selling that before the market start recovering, man.
Wow, it's not won't hurt me none.
Well, I don't know. I mean, the profit margin on the GPUs are going to go down.
Yeah, but I'm not just slinging GPUs. So
no, that's true. I guess if you're doing whole builds, it's not that big of a deal, right? I mean, because the whole systems didn't go up all that much, did they? When you bought from like Puget or CyberPower or any of those companies that are like building PCs, the packages all together were similar pricing. Now, do they have to? Do they have to do that? Is that like a retail pricing agreement or something that they have with manufacturers that are like, oh, we can't rip you off on GPUs? Okay, so they just choose to keep it competitive.
No, what you have seen, if you look a little closer, you'll see companies like iBuyPower selling $3,000 machines that have like 1060s in them, whatever they can get. Oh yeah. Some of those companies were charging a premium for less than stellar configurations. I'm sure. I mean, I'm not that plugged into the sales side of things for Puget. I'm sure prices went up a little bit, but prices. I know that they try to kind of average it out, I guess. Like, that's not quite the right term to use, but like again, this is pure speculation. I'm not trying to I'm not giving away behind the scenes secrets or anything because I don't really know how it works as far as pricing, but the price that a company like Puget Systems or any of the system integrators pay is going to be slightly less sometimes, very sometimes, like 40 to 50% of the time, less than MSRP. Okay, duh, right? You're.
Well, I mean, there has to be a profit margin, or why?
Yeah, you're buying. Yeah. If you buy further up the chain, right, it's cheaper.
And the amount too, I'm guessing
that helps a lot too.
Yeah.
Now, when things are weird, I know as well that certain allocation as well, like either the manufacturer or the bigger distributors will only say, hey, sorry, you can only get 100 of these or 5 of these or whatever, and at a certain price before, like, oh, I'm sorry, if you you'll see on like Alibaba, right? You buy 1,000 widgets, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Like that kind of a thing. And so some of that increased price just gets absorbed. It isn't always just passed right on to the customer because we have to stay competitive. They all do, everybody. So I can't imagine it fluxed that much. Yeah, for system integrators, at least. Yeah. Because we don't deal in retail prices. We're not buying them from Best Buy, right? So
yeah, and in many cases, I'd imagine, I don't know, do you guys
forecasting helps a lot.
When you buy a GPU, does it show up in regular packaging, or do they still do like the old school OEM packaging where it's like they save money?
No, it's a box. It's a retail box.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's where we built the throne, right? That's what we built the throne out of back in the day.
Well, they don't do there are some I guess models or SKUs, I should say, of GPU that will come in like bulk packaging, where they'll just rack out like 8 of them in anti-static bags in a box. There's no but those are usually very like special SKUs that are only are only allocated to system integrators. I want to say there's a model. It's like the Asus Turbo models of the like 3070, 3080s. those come in a bulk packaging. Those aren't generally purchasable retail.
Yeah, so I was gonna say the packaging that some of these vendors use for their stuff, it's pretty like in depth and like fancy. Like the Nvidia boxes are like really thick, really nice prints on them, heavy foam inside. They weigh a lot.
Yeah, Nvidia's like founder edition boxes are pretty robust, but they don't take up a lot of space. There's not a lot of extra in their package. I just got rid of like a couple 3090 FE boxes just a couple days ago, so I can't show you. But I think Nvidia's FE packaging is the best. It's as far as like safe and small, like compared to like an EVGA, for the win. But again,
totally,
it's the size of the card too, right? Like when they're selling those 14-pound things that's 6 inches thick, and it's like, the box is gonna be different. Does Puget keep the boxes for each client? No, it's trash.
That would waste so much
you guys
shipping money.
Holy cow! You guys have no idea how much cardboard recycling this shit generates from the boxes that we receive with parts in it, to having to tear the retail boxes apart and recycle those, to all of the inside packaging. You little box that's got the accessories in it. There's so much cardboard. I hesitate to use the word waste because we'd recycle it all, but holy fuck, it is so much cardboard recycling, so much, thousands and thousands of pounds. We fill up. So Puget shares a dumpster and recycler box. What was I saying? Garbage and recycle dumpster, right? We're talking big. These are big commercial dumpsters.
These are like the ones that a truck comes and loads up, like a semi, right?
Big fork thing comes and dumps it over the top. Yeah. Big. And we just recently got their biggest ones that they'll let us have before we get into like those long contractor construction dumpsters. We got the biggest one that we can, and we still fill that thing up every other day.
Okay, I didn't know it was that bad. Our
neighbors are like import export. They do like, the weird stuff you find in those like Chinese gift shops, right? They're importing incense and weird little statues and knives and things, right? Those guys will throw like crates and stuff into the trash, and they fill up pretty quick. Like we're talking like wooden crate pallets, right? But we dominate the recycling. Puget Systems dominates the recycling. It's so much cardboard. We're looking into getting a baler. So much cardboard.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised you guys at that cardboard creation rate. I'm surprised you don't.
It's outrageous. It's outrageous. Yeah.
Yeah, because when I worked at Sears back in the day, we had a baler, and we had to run that thing, I want to say like once a week, where all the cardboard that built up on the docks because when you opened up a truck and you unloaded it, like all the garments and stuff came in these giant cardboard boxes, and you'd open the cardboard box, you'd pull the garments out, hang them on a rack, and then you'd have this cardboard box left over. And a truck would pull in, you might get like 30 or 40 cardboard boxes, like these really big ones. And so they just pile up. We'd break them down and pile them up and put them in the corner until it took up like a third of the loading dock. And then it was baling day. And then we went and fed those things into the compressor machine that like crunches them all down and then lifts it up and put more in there, and it crunches it down, put it more in. Then when it's done, pull the straps over it and ratchet them down, release it, and dump the bale out of the front of it. And those bales were heavy too. Like you had to be careful because like if that bale fell over on you, you'd like break your leg.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah.
I mean, it's like so dense when it packs them down. But I was gonna say, if you're just like loose throwing the stuff in that bin, I bet you it does fill up pretty damn fast. Especially with case boxes, because case boxes are huge.
Those are the only ones. Those are the only ones we keep.
Oh, that's right.
So the systems go back into their retail packaging. With the foam in the bag, it goes into the chassis box. The systems go into the chassis box, and then that box goes into another box that's got the foam corners and like a thicker, like the shipping box.
Yep.
Yeah,
dude, I cannot. Okay, so you guys aren't even factoring in the case box, which would be the biggest thing that you'd throw away if you did. And you're still filling up that whole container. So that's all just like motherboard, CPU, peripheral boxes. Like
it's mostly motherboard and GPU boxes. Most of the CPUs come tray, right? We buy them in massive tray quantities when we can. The 9900K came in that stupid. Well, I say stupid only because 5 of them could come in a box. Like the dodecahedron thing, cool from like a collector, like consumer level thing, like that's super freaking cool. But like, they'd only fit 5 in a box.
That's crazy, man.
So
That's crazy. Hey, gaming Matty Rocks, thank you for the $2 super chat.
Hey,
we
yeah,
appreciate that support. So, what GPU size would you put in an Inwin A1 Plus?
As big as can fit.
Ladies.
Sorry. Let's see. Inwin A1 Plus. I think that has the more powerful power supply in it.
Dude,
Let's see.
There's a GPU with like 600 watt TDP now. You can buy. It's like was it 3090 Ti? It's a triple level card. I was watching a crypto miner the other day. He might have been overclocking too, but there's a crypto miner and he was pulling. Let's see here, 3090 Ti 600 watt. Let's see here. Where is it? Or maybe it was the power delivery was 600 watts. Okay, never mind. It's 480 watts. It looks like before you overclock.
Yeah, that's the standard,
man.
Yeah, that's the whatever the spec for it. Yeah, 450.
So much power, man. I remember back when the entire computer, including spinning hard drives and everything, was like way less than that. That's nuts, man. Like, what is the power consumption of a modern CPU is what, 165 watts or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, you can get up into HEDT and stuff, and it'll go to 200 plus.
Okay, so they got some CPUs that are eating up.
I think like the 12900K. I think. I was just looking at this on the ARC. Where is it?
I know some of those little cases, they're designing them now to hold a big GPU.
Yeah,
I'm seeing tons of builds online where they're taking these little bread box cases with little micro ITX motherboards or whatever, and then they just got a giant freaking 3090 in it.
The new 1200K S has a max turbo power of 241 watts, which is equal to the 1200K. Or yeah, the K and the KS have the same max turbo power, but you're not keeping that consistently. So you're probably closer to 200 really. At any given time, it'd probably average out to about 200 or 180 watts, maybe, because it says base power of 125, but you're never sitting at base power for very long either.
Yeah, no, I'd be more curious with the max power draw.
Yeah, maximum turbo is 241.
That's crazy. So the CPU pulling 241, you put a GPU in there, it's pulling 450, and that's without an overclock. If you're doing liquid cooling overclock, it's probably get up to 500.
I just want to address this from Jakander. We're way past the point where miners have really fucked up the market. At this point, we're 2 years into this shortage. This is a manufacturing problem. It is not. You're getting bots and stuff sucking things up as soon as they become available and whatnot. But like, well, for one, we're seeing a very significant dip in the used market in that, and I'm kind of plugged into that as a personal interest. But the whole like scalping bot thing was really, in my opinion, only kind of in the beginning, because like even the distributors were having problems getting these parts. It has always been a manufacturing and shipping issue, and we're probably not seeing the end of it, but after 2 years of this, I would not be surprised to see artificial shortages. I would not be surprised to see Nvidia purposefully only make so many a month or whatever, just to keep prices high, to get us used to pay, to get us used to paying high prices. But even then, that's not as big a deal either. So people are freaking out. Oh, the 3090 Ti is $2,000 MSRP. That's not so scary when you think of the 3090 Ti as a Titan.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but you have to realize that when the crypto scalping was going on, like the big, I'm not saying it still doesn't happen, like you said, but when it was at its prime, like a 3090 was like pulling $3,000+.
Yeah.
So if you can get a 3090 Ti now for $2,000, it's like, yeah, it's still elevated, but nowhere near to the same level it was back when the crypto guys were literally paying $3,000+ for that card.
Yeah.
So, and plus you got to realize crypto has crashed quite a bit. So the profitability is nowhere near what it used to be.
Right.
So remember, they can only pay for a graphics card what they can reasonably recoup in 6 months to a year.
Paid $700 for a 3060 Ti anyway. That's a bit steep, but not too bad.
$700 for a 3060? Oh, a Ti though. I don't know how the Ti stacks up against the regular 3060, but I was gonna say for a 3060 that seems really high. Hey, what's up, Retro My Bits? Yeah, the thing is the guys that are mining with GPU, I think most of them are mining Monero and converting it to Ethereum, and the profitability so far, as I could tell, is like 1/3 or 1/4 of what it was, like even 6 months ago or 8 months ago. So the guys that have their crypto farms right now, they're either running what they have, or more than likely they're using the time to flood the secondhand market with their older cards, trying to get a hold of the newer ones. But newer card availability isn't that high because they haven't caught up with production demand. So a lot of these farms are just holding on to their old stuff and just running it into the dirt to squeeze every penny that they can out of it. So, you know, I don't think the only time that the crypto miners really drive the price of the graphics cards up is when the profitability is high. And profitability right now isn't that high. So realistically, right now, there shouldn't be that much of a premium on top of any graphics card, unless it's truly a scarcity issue or it's a manufactured scarcity issue, like you were saying, where the card vendors are like, wow, if we only make 500 of these, we can sell them for twice as much and people will still buy them, because there's that fear of missing out, is driving people. Oh yeah, I'll pay that price. Like, that's still cheaper than what it was 8 months ago. Because no graphics card company is going to like work themselves really hard to create a massive supply only to chop the price and still make the same profit margin. So in a way, this whole thing kind of screwed us all over, because before, the supply and demand was pretty balanced. Like, they knew what gamers were willing to pay for a graphics card. They knew that, at that time. And now you fast forward where people have been starved for them for so long, and everybody's fighting to get them for not just crypto mining, but like playing games and stuff like that. Everybody's fighting to get these things. It's like the manufacturers are like, wait a second, these are worth quite a bit more than we thought they were. Because they're not pricing them based on R&D. They're not pricing them based on cost plus 40 or cost plus 50. They're just like, what are people willing to pay for these damn things? And how many do we have to make to maximize how much people are going to pay per card? And so you're probably going to see higher production numbers for lower end GPUs that miners aren't going to use. They're purely, it's budget gamers. And then you're just going to see this massive jump to the sky for a little bit of performance increase.
That's so Jay had and I don't know if it was a whole video. I think it was. But he hit on some really good points about the community, the PC enthusiast, like zeitgeist or whatever, the mindset of the majority of the PC community. Boggy Mike, so you say you wanted to use that 5950X for video editing. Awesome. There is so much of this I have a bigger dick than you mentality when it comes to PC parts these days, or in the last couple of years. We're like, oh, I have a 5950X and two 3090s because my dick is so big and hard and I fucking love it. Oh, and it's like, it's so weird, man. It's like,
I feel like it's always been that way though. Like, is it worse now?
I feel like it has. I feel like it's gotten so much worse. Yes, it's always been a thing to where, like, celebrities, like, big streamers and stuff would have these, my $10,000 PC, flex nuts. Yeah, man, I got 2 Titans and SLI and I got the best CPUs and blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, but I think that has gone so far for so long that even like the average Joe thinks of themselves as less than because they can't get the best of the best. Not everybody needs a 3090. Hell, I don't need the 3080 Ti that's in my machine right now. I got a killer deal on it and I jumped on it. Like, it's
no, it's true. Like, if you sit 10 feet away from your screen and you have like a 50-inch TV in your living room, it's like you don't need an 8K TV and you don't need a 3090 running at 4K honestly, 120 or something like that. You could 1080 120. You're not gonna be able to tell the difference from that distance.
I can tell a bit of a difference.
Up close, I can. From a distance, I can 8K TV in my room, 74-inch 8K. I can't tell the difference between 8K and 4K from where I sit. I can if I get close, but not from where I sit.
So I have a 32-inch 4K Samsung. This was like one of the best monitors you could get when this came out in, I don't even fucking know, 2018 or something. It's pretty old as far as monitors are considered. It only tops out at 60 hertz. Can't do better. 4K 60, right?
Noob.
It's got good color. It leans more toward like the video color stuff, right? It's good representation and whatnot. Whatever, man. I play at 4K and it looks great. I put all those super textures and all that shit. It looks great. Yeah, super cool. But I've played at like 1080p or 1440p on my 1080 Ti for so long that really for whatever reason it doesn't feel like that significant of an upgrade.
Well, plus the anti-aliasing stuff they have and things like DLSS and all this other stuff that they're creating. It's like you can get so much more performance now out of the lower or out of the higher resolutions by just downsampling it.
Yeah, it's the same kind of deal as like, you know, the rappers showing off chains and Bentleys and stuff. It's just something to flex nuts because I can afford. Oh, I can't hear you over how rich I am, kind of stuff. Like, you know, it just bugs me so much.
I kind of went through that stage, like with my. You remember? I don't know if you didn't know me back when I had my big water cooled box, did you?
No.
So before Puget built me the very first system, which is the dual Xeon, if I remember right, the big dual Xeon boy down here. And that was a flex too, because like not many people used Xeons, let alone dual Xeons as their like desktop workstation back in the day. So that was a huge flex. But the one that I built, the CPU, I think I spent I want to say all in on it. I was probably close to about 10 grand out of pocket building this computer back in the day.
I believe it.
And it was liquid cooled. It was like one of those Case Labs M10 cases, hand rolled steel. I mean, the case alone was like $1,500. It had a 1,300 watt power supply. And this is a long time ago. This would have been back in like 2010 maybe. Yeah. 2011 when I had this thing. And it had two hydro copper for the Win edition, you know, GPUs, AMD's card back before, like when they were Radeons, right?
Yeah.
So I had the two liquid cooled Radeons in there, the hydro coppers. I had 24 of these like 130 CFM Ultra Quasi fans that if you turn them all to 100%, and the whole room sounded like a Dyson vacuum cleaner and air compressor running. So it wasn't even like realistic. Like you'd have to wear hearing protection to be in the room with them at full. So it was so overbuilt. And I basically just built that system because I wanted to see what is the absolute just craziest best thing that I could build. And the funny thing is, like when I was done, even with all that, I had two 460 rads in it, covered in fans and a push-pull configuration. And even with everything maxed out, it's like I want to say that I got like an extra couple of hundred megahertz, and that was it. Like it was. I could have done everything with like half of a rad and like 4 fans. But I was just like, screw it. If there's a place to put a fan in this thing, I'm putting a fan in this thing.
Right.
And it was a flex. People saw it and they were like, "Oh my god, listen to how loud that is!" You know, like when you rev up a car with no exhaust. Like a Honda Civic sounds like an NHRA dragster if you cut the pipes off of it. And it was kind of like that situation. And I remember people telling me all the time, they're like, "Oh, dude, you did that wrong. The way you ran your loop was wrong. You know, if you had done this, you're creating, you know, a negative air pressure inside of the case that's going to pull dust into it and stuff." And there was like, "Oh, you got to tune these fans so that, you know, more air is coming in the front than going out the back." And it was just like everybody was coming at me saying, "Oh, there's all these things you could do to optimize it." And I was like, I don't care. You crank all the knobs, it gets super duper loud and it does what I want. but it was so ridiculously overpriced. And the whole reason I built it was because me and my buddy just had a build off. Like we just wanted to see who could build the biggest. That's where back when I had the 3, you know, before anybody was using TVs, I had like 340, was it like 45 inch? I think it was. Yeah. Or 48 inch screens. And, you know, with the iFinity setup with the surround, and I had all the game series of me playing racing simulator and stuff. This is back when people were still using monitors. Yeah. And so it was a really cool gimmick back then. But it's like fast forward today, and it's like you don't need to do that. You don't need to have, you know, 3 3090s and like NV Link bridge to have your 3, you know, the machines are 4 or 8K screens running at 60. Like,
they're powerful enough these days to get. I feel like we're almost coming to a plateau of a sort, where like the graphics power of even something like a 3060, 3070 Ti. You could do 4K gaming on that, probably medium textures, or at least hit a good sweet spot of like, you know, 1440p on ultra or something, you know, and still get crazy frame rates too. Yeah, it's weird,
dude. I remember playing. Was it? I think it was CS. No, it wasn't even CS:GO. Counter-Strike 1.6. You remember the Counter-Strike 1.6 days?
Oh yeah.
So I remember playing Counter-Strike, and like, you know, if I got like 700 frames per second, I was like, oh man, dude, I got 700 frames per second. It's like I got a monitor that can show 60.
Yeah.
If I enable VSync, it goes from like 700 down to 60 frames per second. And I'd be like, oh man, I never dip under 60 no matter what's on the screen. And it's like, but dude, you get 700.
It's just so weird. There's just so much EP.
It is a flex
nuts. Like, oh, I get 1,000 FPS in Fortnite. Yeah, but bro, your monitor probably doesn't even do 400 or 144 hertz. Like,
yeah. Plus, I feel like the gaming
good is that?
market is homologize or what is that?
Homogenizing.
Thank you.
Homogenizing.
They're homogenizing between consoles and PCs now, to where they don't have to develop different games. Like in the past, they had to have multiple code bases. They had a code base for the PC game and one for the console. Now they're starting to homologate all this and be like, okay, everybody has the same code running on the same thing. The Xbox code is the same as code running on the PC. Even if it's a different platform like PlayStation 5, it's like they're using a different runtime compiler, but the code that sits on top of that, like the managed code, if you will, is all the same and portable. And so they're trying to make these games to where they're just optimized to run on everything. And so there's a lot more focus now on making the game run right on the lowest common denominator. Whereas when you had the PC version back in the day, you could just unoptimize the shit out of it and just know that people could throw more money and horsepower at it and they'd eventually get what they wanted. But that's why consoles used to outperform PCs, like, you know, for graphics, because you had no overhead on it like a PC. The code that you were running was built from day one to run on that console and to run good on that console. Like that was literally the upper bound. They didn't want to ever drop under 60 frames per second or even 30, depending on the console. They didn't want to ever drop under that. So they developed it to, no matter what, it was optimized to do that. But you have PCs are so diverse, you really can't do that. So now I feel like they're just taking the consoles, which are these heavily optimized code bases. And now because they share the same technologies, like, you know, on with Xbox and DirectX and Vulkan, I don't know what PS5 uses for its graphics stack, but it seems like it's portable enough.
AMD at least.
Yeah, but it feels like it's portable enough that if they make something that runs on, you know, an Xbox One X or a PlayStation 5, that it'll stand to reason that it'll also run good on medium gaming hardware on PC. Like I'm not seeing this situation where it's like Forza is a great example of this. Like Forza Motorsport 5, I can run on this even before I had the 3070 in the computer. I think I had a Titan XP, which is it's a little dated, right?
Call it a 1080 Ti. Yeah, it's 1080 Ti.
Exactly. So like a 1080 Ti, and I was getting above 60 frames per second 4K maxed out graphics on that. It's 60 frames per second, which the console couldn't even do.
Yeah.
So you know, and now it's like, you know, I think just for fun the other day, I put Forza Horizon on 8K, 60 frames per second, and I was getting, I want to say like 54 frames. I was just under 60. I was like 50 to 54 frames per second with a little bit of micro stutter, but that was at 8K on this thing. And it's like gaming at 8K is ridiculous. Like, I get it. If you're sitting, you know, 2 feet away from a 74-inch screen, then the DPI of 8K kind of makes sense, because then it's like having a whole bunch of 4K screens in a square configuration with no borders. Yeah. But I will tell you what, man, when you're sitting back like against the wall, you know, 12 feet away from the screen or 10, 12 feet away from the screen, I honestly, I squint and I got pretty good eyes, and I squint. I cannot tell the difference between the 4K footage and the 8K footage.
Right.
But when I get close, I can. Like if I get up close, you can see the staircasing smooths out when you're closer to the screen. But from a distance, you can't. And it's so resolution is one of those things where it's like people just try to pick the highest resolution they can because they're like, oh my God, it's so crispy and so sharp. But it's like, try some of the lower resolutions depending on how far you sit away. Yeah. And many people, like I figured out when I'm playing Flight Simulator 2020, I take 1080p over 4K, even though 4K, don't get me wrong, there is a difference. You can tell looking at it, but you have to, you know, look. But between them, if you're just casually playing, I'd rather have 4x the frame rate.
Yep. Frame rate and textures. Like I'd rather run at a lower resolution with better textures and a better frame rate.
Yep. Oh, actually, Gamers Unite makes a good point. He's like, hey, remember Crysis when they made it unable to run even on the highest system at that time on max settings? Yeah, dude, that was the thing I feel like almost every game during that generation was doing. Like they were just creating graphics settings that like current gen hardware couldn't even run, just because they thought it would give the game longevity. Yeah, because people would be like, I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5 was kind of like that. I remember when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out on PC, it was so unoptimized. You had to have like way more PC than console to run the thing. Right. And I remember people would go into the settings and be like, oh, crank this up, and unlimited draw distance, and, you know, a denser population, and fog, and atmospheric lighting, and ambient occlusion. And you go through and you flip all these things on, and the game just starts slowing down to a crawl to where it's like, you know, 3 frames per second. You're like, how the hell did they even test this? Like, you know, or you get to the point, even today, GTA 5, like if you turn on enough settings, you can get it to exceed the 11 gigabytes of graphics memory on the card. Like it'll say, oh, your VRAM's running out. You're going to start experiencing performance and glitches or whatever. And you're like, this is a game from what, 10 years ago? Wow. And it can't, like back then, the best graphics card had what, maybe like a gigabyte? Maybe. Of memory? Maybe? Yeah. So I don't know. It's a little bit weird. Yeah. All right. Well, you want to talk about some of our topics? Now we got everybody in the pool?
Yeah.
Looks like we got just about everybody in here. Yeah, we just crested 200. So we got SpaceX. What's going on with old SpaceX and their little tourism business they're doing here?
Tourism. Yes.
Tourism.
So for me, this is one of the more exciting things about privatizing space flight. You know, I want to see more of this sort of thing. Even you know, I understand it's ridiculously expensive. Like I think the Russians will put you up there for $250K, or that used to be what it was.
That was like old. That was like Lance Bass prices back in the day.
Yeah.
But still, it wasn't 55 million.
Yeah. So is that what? Yeah. So yeah,
a single
Axiom
seat on SpaceX with Axiom is 55
for a 10-day trip. So not
Yeah.
just to get you there. There's a 10-day like vacation in space. That's pretty rad. Wow. They're saying food alone costs $2,000 per day per person. Holy cow.
Easily.
Like it cost me $115 per person per day for all inclusive at the resort, right? Like, so that's expensive, man.
Well, yeah, transportation costs just to get what is it? What did they bill it at?
You got
it's $10,000 a pound
per pound, something.
Yeah, $10,000 per pound to ship food into space.
Wow,
into low Earth orbit. So, like, how much food do you eat
well,
a day?
plus I
mean,
imagine
it's not unrealistic to eat more than a pound of food. Like, I mean,
yeah,
everything. Considered everything.
And yeah, plus I imagine too that they got to pay the professionals. They're not just letting these yahoos wander around. They, you got to have a couple astronauts that like watch over, babysit these kids while they're up there, kind of thing. It looks
like they came with their own babysitter. Like, this is one of the things I didn't like about how the news marketed this. Is they're like, oh, it's this all civilian space flight. Like, we're just putting random dudes off the street in this thing, like taking up the ISS. No, they needed months of training. Every single one of them was basically like, I mean, not a super experienced astronaut, but every one of them went through the basic astronaut training for months. And then on top of that, they still had a commander on board who was an ex-NASA, like a flying astronaut.
Yeah.
So they had a person in the capsule that has gone to space before. So it's like, it's not really the civilian mission that they're like, oh man, this is a civilian mission. It's like no, they were accompanied by. Now, granted, he is a civilian because he's an ex-NASA astronaut.
Right.
But still, it's like, it's not like they made it sound like, oh yeah, we're just gonna throw all these, random people off the street. Oh, hey, grandma, you got the golden ticket here. Hunker on in here. We're gonna strap you down and send you to the ISS. And it's like, no, they had full training for months. They went up on the Vomit Comet and did the floating 0G training and all that stuff. So they were very well prepared for this mission. Like, if anything went wrong, they even trained on the ISS dummy down here, so they like know what not to touch and where to go and what not to do.
Sure.
And, I feel like they tried to bill it like they're just like people are just lining up and buying a ticket and jumping on the sumbitch and going to the ISS, and it's like, no, it's still, in addition to the $55 million, you have to check a lot of boxes before you go up there. And if you're not safe to fly, you're not going to fly. That's the other thing too. Like, it's like if you have any kind of medical condition or anything that could affect you adversely on this flight, they're not going to fly you, because if you get sick or you have any kind of problem, or you have the diabetes or something like that and you need your insulin in space, or they're not going to send you up there and risk you having the mission abort and have to prematurely return to Earth.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Bitchy Poo, thank you for the $10 super chat. It's the biggest super chat today. You are awesome. We love you. He said, hey guys, happy Saturday to you both. I'm thinking of upgrading my 1080p monitor to a 2K. I believe that's 1440p.
Generally accepted as that, yeah.
Yeah, he said, if you were lucky enough to acquire a 3080, should I go with a 4K or settle for a 2K? I have a 3060 Ti now.
I said it in the chat, but 1440p at 144 hertz is better than 4K at 60.
I agree.
Go higher refresh rate at that 2K level, as a high refresh rate as you can afford, over getting the higher res monitor.
Yeah, because even on my big screen in the bedroom,
for just gaming and stuff, especially if you play any sort of competitive gaming.
Yeah, no, 120, even just 120 hertz. Like, I have a screen in my room that does 120 at it does 4K 120 and does 8K 60. And 4K 120 versus 4K 60 is like night and day. I take the frame rate all day long. If it could do 1080 240, I would be playing at 1080p on everything.
I think I've seen a monitor that'll do that.
The TVs don't yet for some reason. Like, the TVs are now just getting into the point where they do 120 because of the next gen consoles.
There's no impetus to there's no push to have TVs better than 60. Really, I mean, yeah, you say like the consoles, but it's going to be a bit before there's really pressure for that, because they can barely do 60 FPS on their 4K games anyway.
It's true. It's true. And the thing is, there's very few games that run at the full 120 frames per second that are supported by next gen. Mm-hmm. That's why it took so many TV manufacturers to get to the point where it's like they do the native 120. And the thing I don't get is like, there's nothing crazy about it. Like half these TVs have panels in them that are rated for 120 and they still only do 60 because they don't want to. I don't know if there's a licensing issue or if the electronics are really that much more expensive to drive the panel at 120, right? But it just, or it's a TV and they want to make sure that it stays classified as a TV. I really don't know.
Yeah. I have seen about that is, you can like overclock monitors and stuff. You can figure out some fiddly wigglyness that you can do to open it up.
Yeah, Adam had one of the old Vizio TVs, like the old LED, LED backlit TVs. Yeah, that he could overclock to 120 hertz. It made the colors look a little weird, and it dropped the brightness down a little bit. But it would take a 120 hertz signal and run with it, even though the TV didn't advertise it could do that.
Yeah, there you go.
The problem is all the modern TVs, you do it, and it just pops up and says, "Oh, this resolution is not supported. This resolution is not supported." It's like it's some kind of a soft limitation. Yeah. Because the panel itself can handle it. And I feel like the TV manufacturers, they're trying to give the minimum that they can because they're hoping that the next generation screen with no changes, they can go, oh, this one's got the 144 hertz. Now this one's got the 175 hertz. I mean, look at the new OLED panels, I guess, can go up to 170 hertz or something like that. And Alienware is the only one that's actually driving them at their potential.
Nice.
It's like LG makes the panel. I think it's either LG that makes the panel. Who makes the panel for the Alienware? It's either Samsung or LG. But the panel is capable of 170 hertz. They push it at that, but they use the same panel in other screens that they only push at 120.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's like, it's really weird. It's like you're just wasting the headroom on those components. And I think it's just because they want you to buy a more expensive screen later on when it becomes more mainstream. Like if they do another jump and 240 hertz is the new shiny and like every TV starts getting 240 hertz, then you're going to start seeing a bunch of the same exact product come out with just, it is a Samsung panel. Okay. I keep forgetting that Samsung also does OLED. And I think they even do, the QD OLED, which is like the new shiny, where it's like they use quantum dot to make OLED even brighter.
CPU upgrade,
which is pretty damn cool. I still got to figure out what TV I'm ultimately going to go with in the bedroom, though, because you guys heard about my TV, right? I've had the worst luck.
Yeah.
I got 3 LG C1s. They all got out of sync, had color issues with each other, and so I shipped those back to Costco. That was a nightmare. It took 70 some days to get a refund. Then I go get a TV because my TV in my bedroom broke. So I go get a Samsung, QA 900 something. It's basically an 8K. It does 4K 120, 8K 60. And it's the full LED backlit array or full array mini LED backlit, which by the way is bullshit. It still blooms like crazy. Like they're like, oh, mini LEDs doesn't bloom as much. No, it blooms a shitload when you crank up the brightness. So, but it has a dead strip of pixels, so I got to ship that back. So this Tuesday, that's going in a box and going back to Costco. So I got to figure out what screen I want to get now for the bedroom. So if you guys have any ideas, and I think I'm just going to go 4K. I don't think the premium for 8K is worth it. I don't use it at all. Like I tried doing 8K on the desktop at 60 hertz, and it's like I still prefer 4K 120 for the desktop HDR10.
It's fine.
And
but see, that's it. That's another thing. It's the fucking E-peen. Like, what could you even possibly watch at 8K? Yeah.
There's some content on YouTube, but it's not the majority, no.
Some, like, oh, great, I get to watch PewDiePie in fucking 8K.
And the truth is, it's all going to be upscaled anyways. It's not going to be truly recorded.
Yeah, man, they
upscaled.
Process the shit with the, AV1 stuff, and they're not feeding it to you at the, we hear you typing? Good. It's a clicky-ass, loud keyboard.
Plus, the TV comes with its own computer, basically. Like, the breakout box for the TV basically gets as hot as a computer. Like it is, and it weighs like 20 pounds. And it's because to do the 8K, it's basically because it takes 4K and up samples at the 8K all the time, 24/7. And so this thing is basically taking a 4K feed and AI upscaling it to 4 times the resolution of 4K at 60 frames per second to get that 8K. And even if you're running 4K 120, it still has a mode on it where it'll still up-res it to 8K on the screen, but it's frame doubling the 60 frames per second. It's weird. It's weird. It's really weird how it works. But
isn't future proofing a good reason for 8K? And I said no, because your panel is going to be old by the time the content catches up.
That's true. Like 8K is going to come out, and there's going to be a whole new HDR spec. There's going to be there's already a problem right now that I didn't even realize until I got into this TV, is that Samsung has their own HDR thing. Yeah. So Samsung has like HDR 10 plus, and then LG and the rest of the industry has something called Dolby Vision. And they both have like their own features that they do, but Dolby Vision is undisputedly the best. It's got the widest gamut and range and everything. And so, but it sucks because like nobody does the Samsung implementation of HDR. Like you can enable it and it works great on the computer because the computer doesn't care if it's HDR10 or Dolby Vision. It just does HDR, right? And it just figures it out. But when you're watching content like Blu-ray and streaming content, it does matter because if it's a Dolby Vision content, it's not going to do anything on your HDR10 plus.
Yeah.
Hey, Data Doctors, thank you for the $10 super chat, man. We really appreciate it. Said happy Easter. Have a great weekend, everybody. You guys make my weekend tolerable. 1440p at 144 for life. I mean, if you're working on a small screen, that's the thing too, is screen size matters. Like 1440p sucks if you're on like a 60-inch screen. Like obviously that's where 4K really shines. But smaller screens, no. It's like I saw a guy at PDX Land that had like a 24-inch 4K screen. And I'm like, dude, you're not getting the pixel density. Yeah, unless you're playing with an eye, like a jeweler's eye loop pressed against the screen. You're just slowing down your frame rate and you're overtaxing everything to get a lower FPS. And it's like at the end of the day, you're really not going to notice that much of a difference.
No. Yeah, it's silly.
Oh, I didn't know that. Does wait, so LG, oh no, Dolby Atmos. Never mind. I thought you meant HDR10 plus. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because there's no TV that does both. They either it does Dolby Vision or it does HDR10 plus. And then you just got to figure out like which content uses what. And I hate it when companies cannot just agree on a standard. When they create the same technology, it's like FreeSync and G-Sync, right? Yeah. Look how long that bullshit went on before Nvidia finally threw their hands in the air. We're like, okay, fine, FreeSync. We'll accept FreeSync and let FreeSync work on our cards because it's an open standard. Yeah, right. But they held out so long because they're like, man, if we get people to license these G-Sync chips and it drove the price of the display up significantly if it supported G-Sync, and FreeSync does the exact same thing and it's free. So hence FreeSync. So have you found out anything about this Axiom mission?
No, it just kind of is a kind of a once over of the thing. They're talking about how much it costs and stuff to get to hang out. Let's see, specific detail how much it charge. Blah blah blah. $2,000 a day per person. Getting provisions.
That seems reasonable. There's places on Earth that cost $2,000 a day to stay.
Dude, that sounds. I mean, that's like resort prices for some places. So totally. Like that's not so bad.
And then Vegas can spend more than that.
Cost between $88,000 to $164,000 per person per day for provisions.
Shit, over
that's shipping. That's shipping. So like getting the provisions to and from the space station for a commercial crew is another $88,000 to $164,000 per person per day. That's big money. And then for each mission, bringing on the necessary support from NASA astronauts will cost commercial customers another $5.2 million. And all the mission support and planning that NASA lends is another 4.8. So most of it's administration. It sounds like most of it is administration costs.
I know, but considering
we're at just shy of 10. Okay, no, I guess it's mostly the getting the stuff up there because it's so call it like just to make the math easy, call it 100,000 per person per day. They're up there for 10 days, so that's 10 million just to get right. Did I put the zeros in the right place? Check my math. I don't do mental math very well. But yeah, at $100,000 per person per day, 10 days, that should be, is that 10 million?
So they're not factoring
just
in
to get the stuff up there?
The actual Falcon 9 that got them up there, right?
I think that's the whole to getting the provisions to and from the space station.
So they've really got the price down that much? Because I thought they were still like 250 million a flight or something like that.
That's 10 million per person per day.
Oh, per day.
Or did I do that right? Hold on. Let me see if I can do this calculation right. Okay, so $100,000 for one person. Yeah, and then so times 10 because it's 10 days.
Yeah.
My bad. It's a million just to get the stuff up there per person. So 4 million because there's 4 of them. I don't know if that then includes also the support staff, but at least for the my bad. Thank you guys. Yeah, I goofed the zeros. So at least 4 million just to get their stuff there and back. Then it's 2,000, so it's 20,000 for the whole trip, right? 2,000 times 10
per day.
So 20 grand just the food. Just food is 20 grand for the whole trip. And then getting it there is $1 million per person.
And somebody said they got Falcon 9 down to 69 million now.
Plus 10 million. So I guess call it 10 million for the support staff. And to bring on the necessary support from NASA astronauts and the mission support and planning altogether. That's 10 million. So yeah, I mean that's a bit.
Oh, it still sounds like they have a pretty healthy profit margin though. Like if these four guys are spending 55 million each, that's 220 million in revenue just from them paying. And if Falcon 9 only costs 69 million to launch, and let's say, each person is $10 million additional for their trip. I mean, by the time they're all done, it sounds like they're still well south of the full cost of the trip.
Yeah. Like all four of them together is 220 million. And then, it costs maybe what'd you say? Like 65 something to just to launch the rocket, just to launch the rocket. 69
refurb and fit and launch it.
Yeah. So they're doing pretty good. I think they're making a good at least one full ticket, the 155 milli probably in profit.
I mean, that's not a bad business model as long as everything goes right and you don't have any mistakes.
Right.
The one cool thing though is I think, like, I was thinking at first, like, oh man, the ISS has got to be like annoyed that they got all this work to do and these random people are showing up and shipping. No, this has got to be like the greatest thing in the world for them.
Nah,
it's like you get up there, it's like you don't see anybody else for like 6 months or a year. It's like it'd be cool to have just regular people showing up like every week, be like, oh, I got new faces and new stories and new people to talk to and interact with and stuff. It seems like that would actually boost morale on the space station,
right?
Unless you got like a total dick, but you'd think they'd vet them well enough that wouldn't happen.
So it goes on. They're not just goofing off either. Like, this isn't just them vacationing. It says each of the crew members has a list of research projects they plan to work on. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, I saw a thing where it's like, they did ground training and everything for all the science and stuff that they're expected to do up there, and their entire trip is like planned down to the minute almost.
That's cool.
So just like real
they're not just that's cool to hear that they're not just like goofing off.
Yes, I think
just hanging out.
I think they want to keep them busy for a reason. Could you imagine if they're just floating around like doing nothing? Like they're gonna be touching shit and taking pictures of classified stuff and posting it on their Instagram and going over to the Russian Soyuz capsule or whatever, like stealing vodka and shit. It's like you gotta keep their nose down. You gotta keep them doing something. Hey, Data Doctor, thank you for the $15 super chat, man. Data Doctor's Vistas just taking care of us today.
Yeah,
we appreciate it, brother. He said for your background, please.
Having to do math.
And AuxxZillary said for having to do math. I hate math.
Man, you guys don't even know. Man, my teenager is into calculus right now, and I look at it and I'm like, it's like looking at some kind of fucking magic spell stuff, man. It's a bunch of runes and arcane nonsense all scribbled out over this stuff. Ugh, I wish her good luck. I can't. It's beyond me now. I cannot help her anymore.
I can't do the calculus and stuff. That's why I got into computer programming, because then
basic math
multiplies. Just learn to tell the computer what to do, and it'll give you the answer back every time.
You get into programming, and somebody else is going to tell you the right formula.
I wonder if they're being paid. I'm kind of curious. That I haven't heard anything about. Like the guys that are going,
this is all on them. They're not getting paid. No way. They're working on their own stuff.
I know. It's like there's like a weird like L&I thing I remember watching on the ISS where it's like you have to, they have to pay the astronauts like a freaking like hourly wage or salary wage for their like working on the space station. Like they don't just give them like their regular salary. It's like they get like an additional pay for like being on orbit.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that like applies here or if because they also have to have insurance, right? Like some kind of L&I or something if they get injured up there while they're doing science for NASA.
Right.
So I don't know. I think there's a lot here that they're kind of holding close to the chest just because it sounds way more cooler and it's a way cooler story to be like, oh yeah, these randos are just flying into space and hanging out and playing Space Invaders in the lounge and going to the space gym or whatever.
Yeah,
I think these are all capable people that have proven that they're highly intelligent and can carry out the science that they're supposed to go up there. And they just happen to be ultra wealthy people that were like, signed up in a long list of wealthy people and were cherry picked because of their stats.
Yeah.
But it must be nice to be so rich though that you could just drop like 55 million for like, a week in space.
Right. And I get the feeling it's not. And it's also probably not coming straight out of their like private pocket. Like again, like some of the, like they said here with doing the work, like this guy Connor, he's doing something about how space flight affects senescent cells, which are cells that have ceased to the normal replication process and are linked to multiple age-related diseases. So he's doing a research in partnership with the Mayo Clinic and Cleveland Clinic. So I'm sure they're front end part of that.
Yeah, this isn't high school science project shit.
Pathy's to-do list, some additional medical research focused more on children's health. He's conducting that in partnership with several Canadian hospitals and some conservation awareness initiatives. So again, this isn't just all personal wealth. Like, I'm sure these people are pretty well off, but they're not just signing a check for 55 mil and go. This is like, they are there for a purpose. They're being backed by there's Stibe is flying on behalf of the Ramon Foundation, a space education nonprofit named for Israel's first astronaut, Ilan Ramon. Ramon. I don't know. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. He died on the shuttle Columbia in 2003. So like he's they're backed by people. These aren't just like, this isn't Bezos going 50 miles into the sky and calling himself an astronaut. This is like, these are scientists. They're doing their shit for cool, but they're not associated with NASA. They haven't gone through all of the same training and stuff. They're not full on like NASA
they're not going to be like doing EVAs and stuff working on the space station.
They are like scientists. These are professionals of a sort, and they're doing this not for goofs, but to get something done. Which is different. Like they even point out there's a quote that says, "This mission is very different from what you may have heard of in some of the recent, especially suborbital missions." Bezos. We are not space tourists, Lopez Alegria told reporters earlier this month, referring to the brief supersonic flights put on by Jeff Bezos' company Blue Origin. I think there's an important role for space tourism, but that is not what Axiom is about. Axiom's about putting like scientists who maybe aren't Air Force pilots and shit into space so that they can get some stuff done, like that they might not otherwise be able to. Where like Blue Origin is for goof.
Yeah. Well, didn't the Blue Origin thing have like some drama around it where it's like everybody thought they earned like their astronaut wings?
Yeah, but they stopped.
They're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Kármán line's up here. You didn't quite make it," and they didn't get their wings.
Yeah. And actually, I think they moved the line a little bit because of Bezos. Yeah.
God, that's gotta suck, man. That has gotta suck. Because
I remember watching. I watched you didn't go to space.
Launches. No, I watched the launch though, where they sent that, where Bezos was just like loading people on there. He had like the guy from Good Morning America, right? And he puts them on there, and they all fly up there, and they get back, and he's the whole time up, the whole time down. They're talking about during the flight, like, yeah, we got our wings, we're astronauts now. And then during the commencement speech, like when they get off, or Bezos goes, "You're all astronauts now, and you're gonna get your wings." And then and I remember that was like a week later when NASA announced, they're like, yeah, actually, technically, you weren't like, that you weren't up at the Kármán line, so you're not astronauts.
Yeah, they mentioned that in this article too. Like last year, the FAA decided to end the entire commercial space astronaut wings program on January 1st of this year, 2022. So now they just have a list of anyone who flies above the 50-mile threshold.
Oh, okay. So that's
no
how
more
they're dealing with the controversy of it.
No more wings.
No more wings.
Yep.
Well, the funny thing is, though, is like, Elon's SpaceX is the only private company I know of that has put humans on orbit, like other than the NASA or the Russian Soyuz.
Like, yeah, SpaceX I think is the only one who's actually put real people like into what a average citizen would consider space, like real outer space.
Yeah, it's like you're not in space. You're not really in space unless you can stay there.
Yeah,
like if you just go up and fall back down, it's like
that's just high altitude, low orbit kind of thing. Like,
you have to be able to achieve an orbit. If you don't have enough power to achieve an orbit, then stay up there, then you're not really in space. You're just flying really high.
Yeah.
So and it seems like, and I don't even think how high does Virgin Galactic go? Like who goes higher? Is it Bezos? I think it's Bezos goes higher than Virgin Galactic, right?
I would bet. Yeah, I would think. But man, I gotta say, Virgin Galactic's got the cooler looking ships, man.
Oh, for sure.
The big white knight thing, and then the Starship or Spaceship 1 and 2, that little rocket pod with the cool little windows and stuff on it. That's neat. Now, see, like I'd like to see some of that become more popular too. I don't know the right terms for it, but I think it'd be really rad to be able to spend whatever 10, 15, 25 grand and go up high enough to go around the planet twice.
That'd be
something.
Awesome.
It's like a
do like what is it, Gagarin or whatever's first orbit.
Scratch the shit out of my nose.
Oh man, you did. You're like bleeding. Easy there, Cobra Tiger. You're not Wolverine.
I'll look this way. But yeah, like that's something like I would save up for and do like whatever 90 minutes or something, go around the planet twice and then come back. I think it would be super cool.
Yeah, Bezos is tripping, man. That is a fast trip. Like I don't know how long Virgin Galactic's trip lasts, but man, Bezos, you go up there, it's like they're floating for maybe 3 minutes, maybe. Yeah, it's like they're out of their seats, and it seems like they're just right back, and they're rushing, like, oh, take pictures, selfies, hurry up, look out the window, and then they're back in their seats, and you're like, man, that is kind of a jip.
I think like the Shatner flight was like 14 minutes or something. You weren't up there for that long.
Yeah, no, and that was the whole flight. Like most of the flight was getting up there and falling back. Like you being in 0G was only a couple of minutes, like 3 to 5 minutes. And I was like, God, that just doesn't, like the guy on SpaceX is like, yeah, you're paying more, right? At $55 million, but you get to like stay in space. Like you're orbiting for like 2 days in 0G, like 2 full days, and go into the ISS for 8 days. Whereas with them, you're paying, I don't know how much it costs to go up on Bezos' ride. I'm guessing it's probably in the hundreds of thousands versus the millions. But still, it's like you're going up there for like floating for like 5 minutes. It's like it's just a little bit better than the vomit comet. It's like if you're gonna pay like dollar for dollar, like save up and do the real deal. But the waiting list, even at that price, the waiting list has to be insane.
Oh, for sure.
Like I guarantee you, like the next 500 flights to the International Space Station, they've already got enough people that are willing to pony up the dollars and the capital, and businesses that are willing to pay to put their CEOs or investors into space and stuff just for the publicity of it all.
Nice.
Kind of feel bad for the astronauts though, because like here you have like a handful of astronauts that all trained like really, really hard to go to space, and it's like, oh, very few people do it. Now it's going to get to the point where it's like every rich people, it's just trendy to go to space. Like I give it another 50 years and YouTube is just going to be like Instagrammers and shit like on orbit.
It wasn't that long ago that like, being just a airplane pilot was like, that is true. Some high like achievement, like, oh man, you're an airplane guy, like a whoa. Yeah, like now it's like, yeah, whatever, man. You put 2,000 hours in of flying around for a while, and like a 14-year-old can get their pilot's license. Like, big deal.
Shit, not even that experimental class. As long as your plane's under, what is it, like 1,500 pounds or something like that, and under 100 horsepower, you can just like build shit in your shed and go fly it around as long as you don't go over 500 feet and cross any roads.
So yeah, man, I could buy a little gyrocopter and just mob to work real fast if I kept it low enough.
Dude, I looked online. You don't even have to have a license to fly a paramotor. I thought you had to have a license to fly those things. You can get a paramotor and a wing and fly up at like 10,000 feet, and you don't need shit.
Wow.
Like
I would that sounds scary as shit. I wouldn't want to go that high.
A lot of people die doing it, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go that high. That's scary.
But I was gonna say, you could literally buy that thing on the internet. I think they're not that expensive comparatively. I think like for a wing, like a cheap wing and a cheap motor or whatever, like used, probably like $5,000, $4,000 or $5,000.
Jeez, nice.
And you could fly up to like 10,000 feet. Like you could literally put an oxygen pack on and fly up to where it would be useful. Yeah. And I watch some of these YouTubers that do this, like Woody's gamer tag. He just goes in his backyard and like straps on his little paramotor and goes up, a couple thousand feet and just flies around his neighborhood. And I'm like, wow, you can, and that doesn't require any like, they do recommend you get some training, but it's not required. Like there's no license, like if a cop comes up on you and goes, oh, okay, I need to see your paramotor license or your flight certificate. No, you don't. As long as you follow the rules of an ultralight, like you're not crossing any major freeways or whatever, you're not going into controlled airspace, like there's all these like little rules, but as long as you don't do them, shit, you can just go in your backyard, fire up the thing, fire up your little lawnmower motor with a propeller and just take off.
Yeah
we got dudes doing it around here all the time where I live. In this little town, just like
it's like it's basically like a lawn chair with a big fan on the back and a big rectangle parachute. That's cool.
They're all over in the valleys down here, and you'll see them, they'll strafe across the road, like, well, there's traffic. They just because they get a kick out of it, they'll just bombardier the road above all the cars. So you'll just be sitting there and you see one just go flying over your roof, like 30 feet in the air, and then they'll like go up and like turn and then come back.
Yeah.
And because they're just putting on a show for everybody stuck in traffic. And it's like, man, and we had a guy, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago, might have been a little bit longer than that, who got stuck in a power line.
Oof,
like he was paramotoring and he didn't pull up fast enough, and he actually went under the power line instead of over it, and it just clotheslined him and wrapped his chute around it, and he was just sitting there hanging from the power lines.
Damn.
Yeah, no license though, man. You don't need a license, and you don't need a license for an ultralight too. Those little aircraft that you can just like build in your garage with like cloth wings and a lawnmower,
like the gyrocopter kind of thing. It's just like big fan on the back and a chop, like from fucking Mad Max, like that kind of thing. Cheap.
It's surprising you don't hear more people dying, considering that that's just legal.
I think there's just a lot of people don't realize that they can and have no interest.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Could you imagine just going outside shit? I remember I went to the beach.
I thought about it. It'd be cool, man. I'd get to work in 15 minutes. The thing goes like 100 and something miles an hour, and I could take off from the road right in front of my house, because you need a bit of a runway for those choppers.
You do.
But and then just be straight as an arrow, straight to work, land on the roof, or pull into the parking lot. Done. It'd be super cool.
Dude, there's a helicopter you can buy. It's fully open though. It's like there's no window or anything. You're just hanging out in the wind. But there's this little helicopter. I think it's called a Mosquito, and they cost like 30 or 35,000. So about the price of a nice car, right? So $35,000, and it's a helicopter that's got a range of like 60 miles.
Oh yeah, I see this thing, little tiny.
Yeah. You could totally just jump, and it's an ultralight. It's an experimental ultralight because it's like under 100 horsepower. It's like 90 horsepower or something like that. So you can technically get into that thing with no license, not know what the hell you're doing, fire it up in your yard and just take off and fly around.
Holy cow! Yeah, $32K. I'm looking at the Mosquito ultralight helicopter. Yep. The new Mosquito XE is the same as the original Mosquito, but with the open frame tubing replaced with an all fiberglass airframe. Cool.
So now it's actually got an airframe. Okay, that's cool.
Blah blah unibody, blah 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 blah. $32K, dude.
$32K, man. And you build in your garage. You just assemble it. They send you all the parts. You bolt it together.
That's sick.
And as long as it's under a certain power rating, then you get something like, I think it's called like an experimental endorsement.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have a license. As long as you don't even need a radio. Dude, you don't even have to have a radio to like talk to air traffic control. As long as you stay under 500 feet and you don't go into controlled airspace and you don't like fly over heavily populated areas.
I dig it.
That's why you don't see ultralights like just bombing over Seattle and stuff like that all the time.
Oh yeah, they've got to have certain restrictive.
Yeah, but like down on the beach
and
over
here,
paths
out where I'm at and stuff. Yeah,
totally, dude. You can just take off on that thing. You know, and I think about like where I'm at, you know, where it's all like cow country and there's all this open land between me and Microsoft. It's like I could probably get that Mosquito and find a path where I could fly it from my house under 500 feet from the ground. So even if the ground goes up, you can go up higher. So 500 feet from the ground, I bet you I could find a path from here to almost the Microsoft where I land and shy at one of the parks or whatever and just chain the damn thing up and go to work. That'd be awesome, dude. Just go to work, go get your little Mosquito fly. I mean, it'd suck if you were working and it started like hailing and like winds picked up. You're like, well, I'm going to die. But yeah, it blows my mind that I don't see more like these little whirligig, you know, gyrocopter things and ultralights just buzzing around all the time anymore.
Oops. Yeah, man, this is cool. I'll look into this kind of stuff.
Buy a DJI drone. Nah, be the drone.
Yeah, that's it. That's cool.
Shit, I think there's less laws for fucking flying a dude, have you seen like these guys that are on YouTube flying paramotors, man? They're like flying over populated areas, landing in parking lots of McDonald's and buying cheeseburgers and shit, and then like taking off from the McDonald's parking lot. Hey. And they get turned into the FAA all the time, and they don't do shit about it. Like they even make funny episodes about the FAA getting called, and
right, like,
what do you do around? They're like, we got a thing that said that you threw something down to the ground, and that's illegal or whatever. And he's like, it's a roll of toilet paper on private property. All right, sorry to
come and get me. Right? You know, come and get me. It's weird. How are they supposed to? I don't know what sort of enforcement like regulation they have about that kind of thing. Like that guy who very clearly dumped his fucking plane on YouTube and said, it's malfunction, blah blah blah. Like I bet
that plane did fall under FAA rules. That was not.
Yeah, I know he's getting. I did hear he was getting investigated and stuff for it. But it's like, how long is that going to take? And then what kind of like punishment can they do? So
I've heard punishments can be pretty severe, but they said that it's a minimum of a year before they come to any conclusions.
Right.
Like it takes them forever to look into that stuff. And apparently like hid a lot of the evidence. Like he went out and like had the wreckage of the plane picked up when he wasn't supposed to do that. So they might even file charges against him for that. But like, look at this. So I'm on eBay right now. You can buy a 2021 Dudek Nucleon 4 paraglider with a paramotor and a size 28 wing. I don't know what that means, for $3,200.
Yeah,
$3,200, bro. And you were like, you are for just the wing, it's like $1,250. So for a couple grand, $4,800 for a full setup. Like if you want like a full proper setup, like $4,800, and you were flying for $5,000, you can actually get a quad paraglider where that's where you like actually sit in it's like a full roll cage. And it's like a little airplane, and then the wing flies above you, and it's got wheels and landing gear and stuff like that. Those you can get for like $5,000. They're called paragliders, 4-wheel quad.
Cool.
But I was like, dude, it doesn't require anything. Like none of you can just buy these things and just go out in the field and just like crank on the engine, and you know, either you get in the air or you wreck.
Right.
So, and you know, people are on eBay, you know, on YouTube and all. They make it look so easy. You're like, oh shit, I could do that. You know, and I've seen people eat shit at the beach before. Like, hell, I even remember one of the scariest things I ever saw was probably this was before Xander was born. So this would have been 13 years ago. We're out in eastern Washington at Beverly Sand Dunes. It's like these sand dunes that are right off of this cliff face. So the wind like hits the cliff face and it builds these huge sand dunes over there. And it's where everybody goes to ride their ATVs and stuff. Well, there's this huge rock face that goes up like 1,000 feet or so. And then so all these guys go up there with hang gliders. And they come off and they ride the thermals because like the heat coming up off the sand, and they'll just sit up there and they'll just hover like birds for hours and hours and hours. And sometimes they'll even land up on the ridge. They won't even come down the parking lot. Like they get so much lift that they can land where they took off from.
Cool.
And so we're out there just like riding the bikes, and you know, and you'll start seeing them come down. They'll start descending as it cools down, and then they'll come down for their landing in the parking lot. And I swear, like 1 out of 3 dudes would eat shit hard.
Oof, I bet.
Like I mean, bad. Like you'd see them come down and they'd like level off or whatever, and then they'd like pull up too hard at the end and instantly take them like 30 feet in the air, and then they just stall and just fall to the ground, and their wing would just collapse. And these guys were getting like mega fucked up, and it wasn't like windy or nothing. Like this was just because it was just people going up there. It's like their first time ever doing it. They got their hang glider, you know, they got a little bit of training, maybe did a tandem or whatever, and it was like their first like, oh, I got my own flight, I'm gonna go do it. And one dude came down, had to get an ambulance brought there because he had one of those rigid wings. Like they have, people don't know they have hang gliders that are rigid.
Sure.
Like it looks like a wing of an airplane that has like control surfaces and ailerons and everything. And this dude had one of these, but they fly a lot faster than the cloth ones. So he's coming in for a landing, and it's like he's landing. It looks like he's going like 25 miles an hour. And so his feet touch the ground, and he can't run as fast as it's going. So it just folds over and face plants him into the ground and just breaks the whole wing.
Yikes.
And I was like, oh God, and everybody's running over like, oh my God, is he fucked up? Luckily he was wearing a helmet, but it like fucked the helmet up. The helmet had like dents in it and shit and paint missing off of it.
Yeah.
And it just buckled the frame. He was somewhat okay though. I mean, he was fucked up, but he was okay.
Jeez.
Oh, thank you, LaRusso. Thank you for the $12.64 super chat. He said, please use this money to get drunk or high. I think that can be arranged.
I think we can work something out.
Well, where there's a will, there's a way. Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, man.
Let's see here. What else have we got going on here in the world? Science.
Yeah,
well,
science,
not science fiction. Quantum teleportation provides express lane for data communication. I swear we've talked about this before.
It's come up. I think we've touched on it. I don't know that it was like a proper, like full topic for the stream, but yeah.
Was this the concept of using like quantum entanglement to instantaneously send data?
I think so. Yeah, and I think this is more proof of concept. Because it says, let's see here. Researchers have demonstrated that it can. Okay, so rewind. Teleportation may be a concept usually reserved for science fiction, but researchers have demonstrated that it can be used to avoid loss in communication channels on the quantum level. Let's see. The researchers from Griffith University's Center for Quantum Dynamics. Excuse me. Griffith University Center for Quantum Dynamics has highlighted the issues around inherent loss that occurs across every form of communication channel, for example, internet or phone, and discovered a mechanism that can reduce that loss. Let's see. So blah, blah, blah. These people, researchers from this place, finding is an important step toward implementing quantum internet, which will bring unprecedented capabilities not accessible with today's web. This study was the first to demonstrate an error reduction method that improved the performance of a channel. So, okay. The quote, first we looked at the raw data transmitted via our channel and could see a better signal with our method than without it. In our experiment, we first sent a photon through the loss. This photon is not carrying any useful information, so losing it was not a big problem. We could then correct for the effects of loss via a device called noiseless linear amplifier, developed at Griffith University and the University of Queensland. It can recover the lost quantum state, but it cannot always succeed. Sometimes it fails. However, once the recovery succeeds, we then use another purely quantum protocol called quantum state teleportation to teleport the information we wanted to transmit into the now corrected carrier, avoiding all the loss on the channel. Interesting.
So it sounds like they worked out the problem with quantum entanglement, where once you observe the particle or whatever, it's done.
Yeah,
like you can't recover it. They say something about they can recover it. They can correct it. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, I think that's where they're talking about. Let's see.
Somebody asked what quantum entanglement is. Quantum entanglement is like, and I am. If you understand quantum mechanics, you understand quantum mechanics. Yeah. But apparently, they're like all matter in the universe is tied together. Like at the subatomic level, everything is tied together. So if you can produce a particle and split it so that it shares a quantum state, you can take the other particle and move it somewhere else. And if you change the state of one particle, the other one's state will change regardless of distance, because they're not connected through distance. They're connected through quantum mechanics. It's really weird. Yeah. But the problem with it, and they've even done an experiment where they literally, sunk a particle from space, like on orbit with Earth, and they accounted for the drift from gravity bending the space-time or whatever, because time is a little different down to nanoseconds on Earth versus in space. And they managed to like change the state of it and observe the changeable state. So they do know that this is, but they don't know how to control it. Like, that's the thing. Yeah. They don't really know how to control it reliably. It's one of those things where it's like they can observe it when it happens, but they can't make it happen like on command reliably. Yeah. But if they could, in theory, you could send data over any vast amount of space instantaneously with no lag, because you're not restricted to the speed of light. Yeah. So you could, in theory, have a quantum modem. And if you had two quantum modems and they had a quark inside of it, or a bank of quarks, which are these things that have spins. Like
qubits and stuff.
Yeah, qubit. Well, yeah, basically. You'd have the qubit, and then that qubit would be quantum entangled to another qubit or another set of subatomic particles somewhere. And the modems would transmit data by just changing the states of the quantum particles here. And then the states would automatically change for the particles in the other modem, regardless of the space. They could be completely on opposite ends of the universe, and they would change in real time because they're quantumly connected. They're not connected over space-time. They're not connected by distance. They're connected at this quantum level. And it's something that's not really well understood. Right. But it's a science that it's like we know enough to be dangerous. Like we know it is possible. But if you could control that, if you could control the spin of the, not just observing them to see that they're doing the same thing, but if you can control one without destroying the other and reliably, you'd basically have a conduit to send a limitless amount of data instantaneously. Yep. And then you start thinking, is teleportation possible? Because matter and energy can be converted, right? We already got the equations for that. We know how to turn matter into heat and how to turn heat into matter. We know we have all these transitions where you can go from energy to matter and then matter to energy. So if you could do that, then in theory, if you had a quantum system where you could transmit data, you could tear something down that was, I mean, it'd be very painful and terrible. Theoretically, you could tear down an organism if you could freeze its state long enough to basically take every particle in its body and turn it into an energy state, and then transmit the state of that energy to the other side, and then turn it back into matter. You would essentially have Star Trek transporters. Yep. But you would be essentially killing the thing on one side.
Yeah, that's the thing. So like the Star Trek transporters are gigantic replicators.
Yep, they're just kill boxes. They're giant like kill boxes.
Picard says, "Oh, Earl Grey hot," right? And it makes him a cup of hot tea. He could be like, "Make me William Riker."
Yeah, exactly. Cindy Crawford, 21.
I'm sure they explain it a little differently, but the basic concept is exactly the same. You are using a massive amount of energy and slowing it down enough to construct new things from energy. You're slowing that energy down enough to create matter and putting it together, which is what the transporters are doing. They tear you apart on a subatomic level and write down where all your pieces are supposed to go, and then they transmit that list of where your pieces are supposed to go to where you're supposed to show up, and then it puts you all back together.
Yeah,
it's not. Yeah.
And if you're using quantum mechanics to do it, you could actually take every single particle of matter and generate it simultaneously at the same time.
I'm a little surprised that they didn't touch on that in Star Trek, or they may have, but like, I know they've touched on weird transporter problems in Star Trek before, but the replicator, there's no reason why Data couldn't say, "Hey, make me a new cat." Yep. I'm sure there's moral implications there, but
that's what it is. That's what it is.
Technology could do it.
So there is an episode that touches on this in Star Trek: The Next Generation. It's one where Riker beams down to a planet, and then when he beams off the planet, there's a weird atmospheric event that basically, like a prism, splits his signal into two beams of energy.
Oh, nice.
And one beam comes down and he rematerializes on the surface, but then he also rematerializes on the ship. And then like 13 years later, he gets picked up by somebody. And he's like, "Why did you guys leave me on the planet?" And he's like, "But you're not. You're on the ship and you've been here the whole time." And so they end up deciding that he's going to name himself Tom and because that's his middle name, and the other guy's William. So there's a Tom and William Riker running around that look like identical twins in the Star Trek Next Generation universe, and they're both exactly at the moment of transport. They have the same memories, the same feelings. They both believe that they are the real Riker, and there's no reason to believe that one is real or one isn't, because they both materialized at the same time, and they both came from the same beam. So obviously the one that's aboard the ship is the one that they're allowing to be Riker, because he's been there and got more experience. But the other dude just got completely screwed, and he's like, why did you guys abandon me and never come back for me? Like, so he had hate in his heart, and he actually became a terrorist Maquis guy and all this shit because he was so mad and pissed off. But yeah, if that could happen, it's like, obviously they both can't be him. So that kind of confirms the whole myth of like, you are just being destroyed and rebuilt somewhere from a signal.
Yeah.
So you could like tell it, in theory, in the Star Trek universe, you could just dematerialize somebody and then materialize 100 versions of them. The only thing stopping that is technology.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, there's no reason why the transporter couldn't just like reconstruct 6 of the person that they're trying to pull. And I imagine there's got to be some sort of like error correction or whatever. So they are probably transmitting multiple copies of that person to the destination, and they're just like picking the best one and putting it all together.
Yeah, but you'd have to imagine that because it's a signal and it was transmitted, that they could just.
There's got to be error correction.
Yeah,
has to. Which that's what this quantum shit is all about. Quantum error correction.
It's just weird to think about that. Like if a transporter existed today, like you would just be murdered. Like you would, everybody that steps into that, you're just dead and don't exist anymore. But then on the other side, a thing pops out that thinks it's you and has all the memories. And as far as it's concerned, it's like it'd be like you being born with a set of memories. It's like, oh, I've already existed. Why am I wearing a diaper? It's like, that's kind of weird when you think about it that way.
Right.
It's like transport is just murder. That's all it is. Like everybody that goes through the transporter is literally just being, it's the same as being hitting with like a Cardassian disruptor. All your molecules are being vaporized and separated. The only difference is they're all being like sucked up into a tube and sent over here and then spit back out on a plate. God, that's terrible, man. I'm never going to look at Star Trek the same way.
It's crazy.
So what's going on with Sony and Lego? What is that?
So this is exciting to me. I'm big. So the whole metaverse thing and blah blah blah. That seems weird. These are weird to me. All this talk about metaverse is a weird. I don't know, man. Like I feel like we've been doing this for a while now. They're just now putting like a name to it or something, or like some way of commercializing something. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand like the bigger picture here, because it's a lot of this feels like Second Life and VR chat and some of those more or Roblox even, where they're like they're these worlds, these massively multiplayer games that aren't necessarily focused on like one sort of world or storyline or universe, right? Like World of Warcraft or EverQuest. They're just sort of like a sandbox, right? You can kind of do whatever you want. They've given you a bunch of tools and like sort of a framework, and then you can just do stuff. Second Life, Roblox, I think is the more common like example of this sort of metaverse concept, I guess. Yeah. Commodifying your online time equals metaverse. Okay, sure. I guess metaverse is being sold as the true decentralized web. That's not what I've been picking up. I don't agree. I think that's Web 3. Web 3.0 is moving toward a decentralized web sort of infrastructure. Yeah, that's what Metaverse is these sandbox worlds, essentially, like what did they call it in Ready Player One? What was the
shit? I don't remember.
But that sort of thing, where it's like you log into the whatever.
And that already exists. It's called Rec Room. If you've ever had
Rec Room, Second Life, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Rec Room, Second Life, Roblox, all of these things. They're there.
That's why I don't get why Facebook is trying to like recreate the metaverse. They're like trying to create like this Second Life world thing that you go into, like VR chat. It's like, well, what's Rec Room? You already own Rec Room. It's Oculus created it, and it's already hugely popular. Anybody can just create games and just publish them into the metaverse. Like
some marketer is trying to create something new without realizing like this kind of already exists.
Yeah, that's what I feel like they're doing is they're just reinventing the wheel and hoping that not enough people, because VR doesn't have a huge adoption. Like, it's getting better, but it
Yeah.
doesn't have a massive adoption. So it's like most people don't know what Rec Room is. Most
Sure.
people might not even know or have ever experienced what VR chat is. So they're trying to do this thing where they're like, oh, the metaverse is where we make it possible for you to go in there with just a regular mouse, keyboard, and screen, so you don't need VR goggles. But you could do that with everything that exists. Like, you could do that with Rec Room.
Yeah.
Like Rec Room, you can go in through the computer with a mouse and keyboard and stuff. I see people do it all the time.
Sure.
So
Okay.
it's like it already exists. They're just banking on people not knowing about it, and then they're using the marketing spiels and everything to basically just resell the same thing that already exists that's been free forever.
Right. And so I dig it. I'm used to this sort of thing. It's whatever. It's something that I make sense of.
Yeah.
Metaverse will have far more social engineering and data mining. That will be the difference between them, I guess. Sure. I mean, I can't imagine what more they can get from us that they don't already get, but okay.
Right. My son loves Rec Room though. Like Xander, he is in Rec Room at least a couple hours a day.
Yeah.
Like that's his reward for like doing good at school and stuff. And he'll be out in the living room and I'll walk out there and he'll be, yelling and cheering and flailing his arms, getting his exercise and running around and driving cars and flying airplanes and crashing stuff. Last night he found that somebody created a room where you just get fireworks and you set them up and light them off. It's like, whoop, and you watch like the 3D fireworks. And he was just having a good old time doing it. And it's like, I love Rec Room too. Whenever I get a chance to jump in there, it's been a while because my back hurts so damn bad. But just popping in Rec Room and stuff, it's fun. Like playing paintball, you can just jump in there and play paintball with a bunch of people and run around and stuff. It's awesome.
Right. So it looks like Sony and the holding company or investment firm behind Lego are both, or let's see here. It looks like they're both investing $1 billion a piece into Epic with plans to co-develop a quote family-friendly metaverse for kids. It's Roblox, man. Why don't you just fucking buy Roblox?
Buy Roblox.
Sorry, come on. Like, I get it. It's going to be brand recognition and stuff like that, but Roblox is already a thing that exists, and like, man, that's a weird rabbit hole to go down to. If any of you played it, oh man, it's neat. It's really interesting, and it's a little cheesy because it's super aimed at like tweens, like 10 to 13 ish.
Yeah.
But man, they have a very robust ecosystem going on there. There's like skins and stuff you can buy, and your skins are attached to like your account, your character guy, your little avatar. And then like within Roblox, there's all these different games that you can play. But some of them are like, there's like I can't remember the name of it, but it's like Townsville kind of thing, and you run it, you pop into this game, and it's like a little city. There's like a pizza shop and a car dealership and like a coffee shop, and you can buy a house and build your house up, crazy stuff. You pay for different like furniture and this and that, and like your little person, like you got crazy hats or like big wings on your back, or you can make yourself look like an astronaut with a jetpack and things like that. And then there's like clones of all sorts of different games and stuff. There's like BR, battle royale games. There's like Fall Guys clones. There's an Among Us clone. There's like, geez, man, it's all kinds of stuff. There's RP servers and stuff. There's like weird games where like you pretend to be a kid and like go to school and like. And
it kind of sounds like Rec Room just without the VR.
Yeah. It's and what's really neat is their like programming framework is actually really robust. Like some of the games that are available within the Roblox like world are completely designed and created by kids, and they're like making money off of it and stuff.
I watched a little documentary on that. Yeah, I've never played Roblox, but I did see that it had like an economy where you can like create and sell skins and games and modules and all kinds of crap.
Yeah. So yeah, I remember seeing some article, some 13 or 15-year-old kid makes like 10K a month selling skins. Because he like designs he designs different skins and stuff, different items. Like there's like sunglasses, there's hats, there's hair, there's different faces, there's outfits, there's accessories. It's like backpacks or a bag or wings or like it's pants, shirt, like I said, hats, helmets, hair, eyeballs, like it's all kinds of different stuff. It's really really robust. Some of the games are like premium. I think you have to pay to, you know, a couple bucks or whatever to even be able to like access and play the game. It's neat. It's a whole really really cool
Is it free to play or do you got to buy it?
No, it's free to play. A bunch of the stuff is free. Most of the more popular games are free to access. You don't have to buy skins and stuff. You can just be a no skin and stuff. It's totally fine. I play with my little one every once in a while.
Roblox.
Yeah. Well, yes, most of them don't. Yes, true, but that's the fact for any marketplace like that. Yes, most of them don't. Sure, but because there's like 5 million people all doing the same thing. Like,
does this support VR or is it just like purely on the computer?
You know, I don't know. I've played it mostly on mobile.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. I want to see if there's any Roblox VR thing. Oh, here we go. Roblox VR support. Oh, enable your VR experience in Roblox. You just need to install Roblox and then toggle VR mode.
There you go.
So there you go. Yeah, Steam,
I'm not surprised.
HTC Vive, Oculus, how to do it in the Oculus Rift.
But it's really neat. I think this is a one. This will be like one of those notes in history of like this is a very early adoption of this concept of the metaverse. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to fart around with that. Yeah, I didn't know Roblox supported VR at all. Like I'm definitely.
I didn't realize it was VR either, but yeah,
that's pretty cool.
The thing is, I think I could see where this partnership with Epic will be better. One, because it's Unreal Engine, because holy cow, Roblox is real cheesy and I think kind of jank. I don't know exactly like how their code works or whatever, like how you actually make these things, but I imagine it's a bit janky.
Optimized.
Yeah, I imagine it's a bit janky. So whatever it is that they do with Epic and Lego together will be tremendously more polished and a smoother, just less, because like, man, you start poking around in like the UI and stuff is pretty not good. It works and it's fine, but you can tell that it's pretty rudimentary.
Is it like cross-platform too? Like the if you're playing on the phone, you're playing with PC people and everything like that, or is
Roblox is not any more of a scam than buying Fortnite skins. Yeah, that's sure. A bunch of kids making games for free and they make almost nothing or just virtual. Yeah, so, but that's the truth of it in so many different marketplaces. Go scrub through Etsy. Most people are not making any money off of Etsy either when they're putting all their weird junk up on, buying bulk shit from Alibaba and putting some hot glue on it and calling it art and selling it on Etsy. Like, it's the same
I know where Clay's coming from though, because like I get it. It's like it's
nobody's
business.
Tricking these people. It's not like they're robbing them. It's free to make the stuff. It's free to put it up on the marketplace. It's not like you have to. I don't know. It's not a scam. It's not a scam to me.
It wasn't Roblox that was scamming. I know which documentary he's talking about because I watched the same one on YouTube. It wasn't Roblox that was scamming. It was like these little micro companies that were popping up. They were hiring people to do Roblox development. Like they were hiring kids to like make their games, and they were like stealing it from them.
Sure. Okay, that's a little that's a little different than saying Roblox is a scam. That's somebody scamming kids to make shit for Roblox.
Yeah, they're using Roblox as a means to scam kids because they don't know better. They're like, oh wow, I'm on a Roblox dev team working on this cool project, and then they just keep all the money at the end and punt them.
Yeah,
and
that's
or they don't pay them a royalty. They're like, oh, even though you're like, oh, I'm a part of the project, so I'll get 10% of all the proceeds. And then it sells really well, and they're like, oh no, we're just gonna give you $500 and you go away now. And so it was that level of stuff, and people were mad that Roblox wasn't like stepping in and stopping it. Like Roblox was creating an environment that was allowing,
and because they're getting their piece too. I imagine they're taking a percentage,
huge cut. So okay, I think that's what he means when he calls it a scam. But at the same time, it's like that's no different than any other business where people are getting scammed. Anytime a platform is profitable and there's a way to make money, people are going to exploit other people. It doesn't make it right, but it's not really Roblox's fault.
Yeah, it's what happens offsite in the game. Yeah, but again, that's not Roblox's fault. That shit happens all over the place. That kind of shit happens everywhere. itch.io kind of stuff,
Yeah, so it's more just the manipulation of it. It's not Roblox's
that
fault.
Makes sense. Yes, that's weird and scuzzy and not cool. But don't blame Roblox for that. They just provided a marketplace and a tool set. Like what people do with it is their own problem.
Exactly.
IMO. Like I don't know. I get a little upset about some of that stuff because it's cool, man. I don't play it all the time or whatever, but I understand. Like, I see the writing on the wall that this is wicked popular. Like, this sort of thing isn't going to go away. It just needs to be done a little bit better, a little bit more like what Roblox really ought to do is start working on a better framework or a better presentation to appeal to a broader audience. Because man, they could have something really, really cool if it were just presented in a better way.
Here's the thing, though, that we learned with Grand Theft Auto 5, and this is unfortunately true for everything now, is if it's profitable, they won't change it.
Yeah, don't fix it if it ain't broke.
Exactly. Like, man, if it's making millions of dollars, don't try to step on your own foot. It barely
works. It's the thing. Yeah. Like it's a great start, and I think then this is where I think is what's going to happen is this Sony Lego Epic connection is going to create something better, and it's going to put Roblox under, not completely like dead, but it'll be better. This will be a better version. And plus, man, I've played some of there used to be there was like a Lego MMO at one point, and Lego Universe, that's right. Yeah. And that was rad. Super rad. So if they could do something like that and but make it like more sandboxy, super cool. Super cool.
What pissed me off about GTA is they just didn't do any more single player content because it was all about, shark cards and making that money and keeping that revenue stream.
I mean, look at Valve. They stopped making video games at all because Steam makes them so much fucking money.
Right.
So why would they bother? We don't have to make video games anymore. Half-Life is dead. We don't have to do shit because Steam makes just gobs and they don't have to do anything to make Steam better either because where are you going to go?
Yeah, they figured out how to be the middleman, right? I mean, they learned how to be the protector, the person getting paid the protection money, not the person paying it. Right. Hey, Martin, thank you for the $2.63 super chat. I appreciate it. And thanks for the most wholesome show online. I don't know about wholesome because every once in a while we say fucking shit and stuff like that. But, we try to be wholesome. We try, but every once in a while, words slip out like, like butthole turd. And, it's like, what are you going to do?
What are the ones that Carlin, the 7 words you can't say on the TV? Right. We're not gonna say those here because I'm sure we get demonetized. Really, like not just like minimally. What is it when it turns yellow? But we're talking like flat.
Yeah, that's where you get the red X.
You know what? How come? This is weird. I know it's completely off topic or whatever, but we do that shit here. How come YouTube can't offer like different buckets of advertising? Because I'm sure there would be some companies out there who are totally okay advertising on some horrendous shit show, right? Yeah. That Disney doesn't want to advertise on. So why can't I say like, oh, I'm in the, hell, break it down like they do television or movies and say I'm in the rated R category, and a company who is buying ads from YouTube or throwing their money into, Google ads or whatever can say, I don't want my stuff being put on content that is, rated R, PG-13 or PG. I only want my stuff going to like, G and whatever, that kind of stuff.
They kind of do. If you look at Google AdSense, there is a box that you can check, but it's not checked by default. You have to specifically go in there. But if you're a business, you can check a box for 18 plus.
I know I can say like this content is like mature or whatever, but like, does that mean I'm just now I'm cut out from 2/3 of my advertising revenue possible? Yep. Or see, like that doesn't seem right.
When you get the little yellow thing next to your video that says limited monetization, like there's a red one where it's like you're demonetized. Like if you're on there doing like, really, really bad things, then they'll just completely cut you out of monetization. However, if they can run any ads on your video, they'll do limited monetization. And that means only advertisers that click that, I'm okay with 18 plus.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a broken system. It'd be cool if advertisers could be like very specifically like, I want to advertise on edgy, drama channels, or I want to advertise on, bathtub streamers that sell their farts or whatever channels. Yeah. Like the demographics should be broken down to that point. It should be the advertisers themselves that decide what kind of content they want to run on instead of the platform.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think so. And I feel like then it would be less of an issue. You could still have, because like, I mean, I feel like that's kind of how it works with television, right? Like, I can choose to not have my ads run during whatever, a certain show or whatever, or I can pick a time. I know that I can pick certain time slots that, whatever, Hannity is on. I don't want my checkers game being advertised during that show. I can pick a different time slot or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's, you know, that kind of thing. And so why not do that? Why couldn't we do that for fucking YouTube? I don't want my ads being shown on content that has these sorts of categories or these sorts of rating or whatever.
I think a lot of it also just comes down to like politics too.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, a lot of these platforms, you know, they cherry pick and choose. And it's like, and to some extent, you know, I think it's good that they do that in some cases it's not, you know.
Yeah.
But ultimately they're going to be the ones that pick, not us.
Right.
And because it is a private platform and they can do that. So, but it does suck because there's like a lot of really good channels that do, like, you know, go to ranges and shoot guns and stuff. And it's like, they're not killing anybody. They're not saying anything violent. They're not even swearing. They're just out like shooting targets and like talking about stuff. It's boom, instantly demonetized.
Yep.
And then they have to go out to, like, you know, a manufacturer of ammunition or something to be like, hey, will you sponsor me directly? And then put the sponsorship directly into their video. And that's why you're seeing everybody do that too, is because a lot of companies are just fully pulled out of AdSense.
Yeah.
Because it's just not worth it. They're not getting their return on their investment. So they'd rather just go do the micro influencer thing where it's like, let's find people that are sitting on the demographic we care about the most and let's put the dollars in their pockets. So that's why most people are integrating ads themselves.
Yeah.
Well, bro, we blew through the topics today. Holy shit.
Excuse me, I have to use the restroom.
Oh, go for it.
Be right back.
It's funny. I was literally going to just say the same thing. I gotta pee. Well, how are y'all doing? How's your week been going? I went and got to it for those of you guys that want a little update on old Barnacules because you don't follow me on Twitter or Patreon or any of those other platforms or Twitch. I got 2 shots into my back a couple of days ago under a fluoroscope. If you want to look up the procedure, it's called an SI joint injection, steroid injection. And I got one on both sides. So usually I only get one on one side or the other. So I got one on both sides. I have to wait 5 to 7 days to see if it helps with my back pain. But if it does, it should make me a little bit more mobile. Which is very, very welcome. And hopefully it'll help with my sleep because I've been really missing out on sleeping any more than a couple of hours at a time. So that will be nice. I'm very much looking forward to that. Other things going on. I'll build a PC in the bathroom. Actually, that's the one place I don't have a PC, but I have a phone in there. VR Gim said he's doing okay. Just finished watching Atlantis. Ends abruptly. Yeah, no. The Atlantis ending was super rushed. I don't know if they thought that they had another season and it got pulled out from underneath them. But Stargate Atlantis like wrapped shit up at like light speed. Like you could tell that was like the writers had to scramble. Yeah, I've been yawning a lot lately. I don't know what the deal is. Like, no matter how much caffeine I drink, I can literally take caffeine pills, drink coffee, take my Adderall in the morning. And towards the afternoon, I just start yawning like uncontrollably. Like, even just saying yawn makes me yawn. And then what's weird is I'll feel like this. I'll just feel like completely on my face, tired, and struggle with my words and everything. And then like at night, I just wake up. So my whole clock, my whole internal chronometer is all fucked up. Do I have asthma? I did as a kid. I don't anymore. I do have a rescue inhaler though, because I do have breathing problems every once in a while. And I have a CPAP for when I sleep. What's up, bro?
Yeah. Hello.
Hey, you cool with wrapping up a little early?
Yeah, don't bother me.
Because I know you got shit you're doing at what, 1?
Yeah.
So, and I'm just sitting here. I got to pee like a racehorse, and I don't want to come back to shut the show down. So.
I couldn't hold it myself. I was like, I was gonna try real hard, but it was.
No, I was laughing because I've been sitting here holding it too, and I was like telling everybody, I was like, "Damn, that's what I was just gonna say." I almost was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go pee, man."
I had the big old number 2, so I couldn't.
Wow,
sometimes,
brother.
Yeah.
Damn, that was like content's under pressure.
It's the coffee helps a lot.
It really does. Coffee is the choice.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you showing up for Tech Talk. We had a blast. David Hewlett couldn't join us today. He's recovering from the COVID.
Wow.
But he's doing a lot better.
What do they call it? The prima donna actor, like, just what a bum. I'm just saying. You know, you get these Hollywood types. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I don't know. Will Smith's making him look better and better by the day. Anyways, we'll get the old Rodney McKay back on the show next week. So
yeah,
I'm sure he'll be feeling better by then. He is up and moving around though. He is up and moving around, which is good. So it's like go vaccines. You know, it's like get your prick on.
That's right.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat place.
Right.
Go over, make sure you're following us on Twitter so you get updates if we have to change the time or the day or anything. And it looks like we may be playing Dungeons and Dragons next weekend.
That'd be super cool.
So keep an eye out for that. Again, we'll give you notifications on Twitter, but it looks like we'll probably be a continuation of the D&D game that we started last time with David and Mr. Gurney.
I'll have to practice my voice again. I'll have to watch the VOD or something so I can practice my voice again. I didn't mean to slip into a weird, like, crotchety Southern accent, but it, you know what? If that's where it went, that's where it'll have to stay.
Dude, that whole thing went so sideways too. After you left, we all turned from heroes into just murderous psychos that were torturing people for absolutely no reason.
Oh, murder hobos.
Yeah, it wasn't even like on purpose either. It just somehow we ended up there, and I don't know how. It was so weird. So when you come back, it's gonna be a trip.
All right,
take it easy, guys. I'll see you over on Twitch on Monday. 3 p.m. Pacific, and you can also get the schedule down in the video description to see when Mr. AuxZillary there is streaming and when Mr. David Hewlett.
Yeah, man, I need to be shamed into putting something on the calendar for these PC builds, man.
There you go,
I cleaned out my closet a little bit. I'm getting rid of a couple funky old cases that I'm not going to do any builds in. I have 2 really nice ones, plus actually 3. Holy cow! Hold up, I've got the NR200P. I have the Fractal Torrent Nano. I have this fucking Streetcom DA2. Those are the 3 nice ones that I have right now, I think. Oh, and a Sliger SM560 that I could put something into as well. So I have some really nice cases that I can build into. I need to get over my anxiety about buying parts, because like I've tried really hard not to I've tried really hard to spend cash only for parts, and I've reached a point where I'm gonna have to risk. I'm gonna have to put something on credit. I'm gonna have to put something on credit, and hope for the best. So
hey, no risk, no reward, man. That's how it always works in life. So once you pull that trigger, it's like just another thing too is it'll motivate you.
Yeah, right. It's like, well, now I have a credit card payment.
Exactly.
So
You're like, oh god, I'm
better fucking put this thing together and sell it. Yeah. So
yeah,
that's true.
You'll get there, brother. I'll lean on you, even though I'm not capable of barely even getting out of bed these days. I will make some time to message you and lean on you to get you to go stream, so I at least have something to watch while I'm being a bum.
Yeah, you and Nathan are both or Nathan's been poking me. Hey man, well, how's it going with the computer? Oh fuck yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you remember that thing you were gonna do? Yeah, come on, bro.
Okay, shit. Well, and he was feeling similar too about some projects that he's been, having a couple companies. He's got companies breathing down his neck for these things, and with the COVID and the pandemic stuff and all this jazz, he's a little behind on some things, and I know it's been sweating him. And I'm like, dude, at least they're not upset. Like we bumped into the North American EK, the people for the EK or the North American branch of EK water blocks and stuff. And they seem very, very nice, really cool people and super understanding. They're just like, hey, there's like, what's an update? And they're like, if you need anything else, like, let us know, that kind of thing. So I feel like everybody's very understanding and whatnot. We just gotta do something.
Once you kick it off, though, I think it'll be one of those things where it's like you just have to go through the motions once.
Yeah,
and once you go through the motions once, you're just going to be like addicted to it.
I think so. It'll get back into my cool. Yeah,
totally. You'll do it, man. Got to get back to Dr. Professor Beardosaur building shit on Twitch.
That's right. The joy of PC building. All right,
I'm gonna wrap it because I gotta go take a turbo pee before I pee down my leg. And but you guys know where to find us everywhere on the internet. I'm still alive. If you just joined the channel, sorry we're ending right now, but yes, I am still alive. You can see me on Twitch. You can see me on Twitter. You can see me on Instagram, TikTok. I shit post all over the place now. So, all right, guys, take it easy. We'll see you next time.